What happens in Vegas may stay in Vegas, but what if you could roll the crop dice and bring a little of Sin City to the farm in a way that's actually pretty responsible? Enter forward contracts. This is a type of contracting that allows a farmer to lock in a price now for an anticipated crop shipment at a future date. If you like it, put a ring on it. Forward contracts prior to harvest allow the grower to be able to commit a certain amount of bushels or acreage to a buyer at an agreed-upon price. It's like the arranged marriage of the grain world. Sure, it's a gamble and no one knows exactly what they're getting, but there is an early level of commitment by the adults in the room, and hopefully the love and crops grow with time. A forward contract guarantees a price and home for your grain once it's harvested. And this can be a big deal for budgeting because the grower then actually knows the price they'll get when they deliver. So, why would organic farmers pursue these? One reason is limited storage. If you need to move some amount of grain right at harvest time, a forward contract can be your friend, part of your wolf pack, if you will. Another reason could be crop insurance needs. Federal crop insurance will use the contracted price for calculating claim payouts if you have elected the contract price addendum. This way, if the grain has a claim against it, the insurance will pay the farmer that agreed-upon price. Otherwise, insurance will use their own formula to figure out a standard price to use. And if you think the house always wins, well, wait till you meet insurance. Some farmers also have a certain price they would like to get, either based on previous years or on their needed budget. If a forward contract hits or exceeds that pricing, it may be beneficial for a grower to lock in some or all of their crop at that particular price. If you're feeling saucy, grainy, you can also think about hedging. Hedging is selling part of the crop at a workable price and playing the market with the other part. If a farmer can lock in a part of their crop at a certain price, they know that's at least some known income to work with. Then, they can wait and see how the market plays out after harvest and try to take advantage of any higher prices that occur. Now that we understand a little bit more about what a forward contract is, let's get some terms down. One set you might hear is acreage versus bushel. Acreage contracts commit a certain amount of acres to the buyer, and the grower sells whatever that acreage produces. This can be for part of the crop, a certain field, or even 100% of the acres on a certain grain. There will usually be an estimated total of expected bushels or tonnage, but ultimately the grower sells whatever is produced on the contracted acres. These, of course, are more common for forward or pre-harvest contracts. You're not going to see one of these after a harvest. Bushel contracts are exactly what they sound like. A grower commits a certain amount of bushels or tonnage and is expected to deliver. These contracts are more common on the spot market after harvest, but can be done for forward contracts as well. These can be risky because if the grower underdelivers, they will need to come up with a resolution with the buyer. The next one is key: act of God clauses. These are used for pre-harvest contracts in the event of crop loss or failure due to something beyond the grower's control. Weather, war, civil unrest, alien abduction. If any or all of these occur, then the grower's loss is forgiven once proven by a third party. These are essential for pre-harvest contracts, and not all buyers provide them. So let me say it again. You do not want to be on the hook for a contract if there is no crop to sell. Like a kid on Christmas morning. Check on your clause, people. Lastly, there are right of first refusal clauses. Right of first refusal gives the buyer the ability to buy or reject any overage on a contract at the contract price. For example, if the grower contracts 100 acres and expects 10,000 bushels of corn, but produces 15,000 bushels, the buyer gets the first option to decide whether to buy the additional 5,000 bushels at the contract price or not. Now let's talk stumbling blocks. Comfortability with the unknown is a big one. It's hard to know where markets are going to be after harvest or even a couple weeks out. The organic marketplace is always changing, so committing can be difficult if you don't know what to expect. But like any good matchmaker will tell you, familiarizing yourself with the marketplace and talking to buyers may give you a better idea, but in case you aren't seeing a theme here, the unknown is always a gamble. The other stumbling block is shared by every farmer everywhere. That age-old question of, what will the weather do? When you commit your crop or acreage ahead of time, it means that something needs to be produced. Weather obviously plays a huge role in, well, everything. So this is one big reason to make sure there is an act of God clause included on any forward contracts. At the very least, you can have peace of mind knowing you're protected from crop loss or failure. In general, forewarned is forearmed. Organic grain infrastructure is not built out like conventional, and grain travels pretty far. If you familiarize yourself with the marketplace, you'll likely find a number of different markets and options. Also, forward contracts come out at different times of year for different companies. Some may offer a year ahead, most come out in the spring, but you can look for forward contracts anytime. You can also contract almost any time before harvest arrives. Keep in mind that certain contracts require the farmer to store the crop until the buyer calls for it, and that can be up to a year after harvest. However, the longer you store, the higher the risk, from heat to bugs to moisture to just close your eyes and picture something gross. Got it? That can probably happen to your crop. If you happen to have storage available, you can still use contract options, but you'll have more flexibility on when you can ship your grain and enter it into the marketplace. Right now, the OG, organic grain and the associated markets, continue to grow and evolve. And it's a challenge, but an exciting one, to find your spot within it. So while everyone else is betting on black or red, now you know a little bit more about putting your chips on green. Let's make it grain.